A new bus full of migrants from the southern border has arrived in New York. How the city is handling their arrival, and Texas governor's promise to keep sending more.
More of the same storm threat, and that humidity doesn't go anywhere.
Get cranky when you're hungry? We'll explain how being hangry is actually science. This is News 4 Now for Friday, August 5th. I'm Jen Maxfield. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said today his state will now bus migrants directly to New York City, escalating a war of words with Mayor Eric Adams and threatening the city's struggling shelter system. Governor Abbott even sent out a national news release specifying a bus would be dropping a group of migrants off at Gate 14 in the Port Authority bus terminal. Mayor Adams has sharply criticized the busing policy, calling it cowardly.
They sent them away. They sent them out of their state. Our country is home of the free, land of the brave. We do not become cowards and send people away that are looking for help. All of us came from somewhere, even from Texas, they came from somewhere. And so they should not have sent people away that were seeking refuge.
A spokesman for the mayor also tweeted this: Governor Abbott's continued use of human beings as political pawns is disgusting. New York City will continue to welcome asylum seekers with open arms, as we have always done, but we still need support from D.C. In New Jersey, the woman seen screaming for help from the cab of a tractor trailer has been found safe. Police in South Brunswick say they found the truck after a 26-hour search. They tracked it to a residential area in Woodbridge and had it towed back to their headquarters. They say they are talking to the woman and the driver. Investigators say the two know each other and would not confirm if a crime was committed. They do say she was injured, but they don't know how she was hurt.
Too often in our profession, outcomes of stories are sad. The fact that she's safe, the fact that we have all the parties here, we will take success when we can.
The search began on Wednesday when a customer at a car dealership told police he saw a woman hanging out of the window, bleeding and screaming for help. Police say the woman was yanked back in the truck and it took off. With the monkeypox vaccine still in high demand here in the city, the White House has officially declared monkeypox a national public health emergency. The CDC says there are more than 7,000 cases in the U.S., with New York City leading the nation. The city's health department started making 23,000 vaccine appointments available on its website last night.
Hi there, I'm Storm Team 4 meteorologist Maria LaRosa. Another day with the heat and humidity and the chance for some showers and thunderstorms. That taking us through the late evening. Still feeling sticky by 9 o'clock, still near 80 degrees. That's the case even by 11 p.m. Now the showers and the thunderstorms not going to be everywhere all evening, all night, but scattered through the region. Then after midnight, we start to see things quiet down and just mostly cloudy skies to start off the day on Saturday. Now the humidity doesn't go anywhere, so it's still going to be really stuffy and very uncomfortable. In fact, into the mid-70s from the city and Newark, Merrick and Islip, Bridgeport as well. Even north and west with Sussex near 70 degrees, Poughkeepsie, Clinton, low temperatures just near 70.
If you're someone who gets cranky when you're hungry, well, being hangry has just been validated by science. NBC LX sat down with a professor who's researching the whole phenomenon and explains why he's hungry to learn more about being hangry.
Initially, it was mainly because my wife was always saying to me, "Vera, you are hangry." And as a psychologist, it was in the back of my head, and I kind of wondered whether this was a real thing, whether being hangry was real. And as a psychologist, I have the means to go and test that out, which is what I wanted to go and do. In very simple terms, we found that hunger was real. Being hangry is a real thing. What our study was able to do was to conduct the study in a real life, real world setting. The entire study was administered on a smartphone app, so our participants were responding on an application, which meant that they could go about their daily lives, their daily routines, as if they were not part of this experiment. So one of the important things of the study is that we were able to see the effect of hunger in a real world setting outside the lab. We found basically that the greater the level of hunger at any given time point, the greater the degree of anger, the greater the irritability, and also the lower the level of pleasure that an individual would feel. One of the things I have noticed with a lot of the commentary is that this is something trivial, this is something funny, whereas I kind of want to emphasize the importance of firstly doing science for the sake of doing science. Sometimes it's important to test things even when they might seem really intuitive or really commonsensical, that we have data that we can test and experiment with, because it can help us better understand the mechanisms that are involved. But also because I think there is a really important point to hangriness or hunger, which is that often people do go hungry, and it can have an important impact on their psychological well-being, on their emotional state, which in turn can have an effect on their behavior. As a very simple example, if a child goes to school on an empty stomach and is feeling angry, it will affect not just their interactions with other school kids, but also their interactions with teachers, and also probably the effectiveness of their learning. Similarly, for someone who's at work, they're feeling hungry, it may affect how they're relating to other people at work or how productive they can be. So we want to try and avoid those kind of effects. And I think although it can seem quite trivial being hangry, the implications can be really important. As soon as we started doing the study, I have become more aware of my levels of hunger. And I think I'm much better now at labeling that, so doing that affect labeling and kind of labeling my hunger and going, I need to eat now. But I can also happily admit that my wife was right. There is such a thing as hunger.